Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to create a card with the Spellbinders Small Die of the Month Club Kit for December. This month's club kit is called Daydreaming, and it has a couple of pieces that create a real fun window with sentiments, and then there's little accent pieces to create a background in your window scene. We're going to jump in, and I have some white liner sheets. White liner sheets are double-sided adhesive sheets. I'm placing a piece right behind some pool plate cardstock. This way we can do some die cutting. This is your archway for your window. It's in two pieces, which is nice. So if you want a square window, you have that option. There's inserts you can put inside your window. They have a little starry background. I'm going to insert those into our top of the window piece, and then for the bottom there's one of the starry inserts. When you cut this out, it creates 4 window panes, and so this insert will fit in each window pane. If you die cut it out like this, you're going to end up with one square panel with a starry background, and then this is your archway. I added the adhesive behind it just to make it easier to adhere to some glitter cardstock. But there's our little starry background, and then it cuts out 4 little rectangles with it. So I'm going to take those little 4 rectangles, and we're going to add our insert piece over the top and do just some die cutting with all 3 of these. So we have basically 4 starry inserts. We'll just tape this down and run it through the Platinum 6. Okay, so we should have 8 pieces in total for the back of our window. What I'm going to do is bring in my craft mat, and we're going to do a little ink blending with this blue cardstock. I like to do this with 2 shades of my oxide inks. I want to start off with, I believe I'm using Mermaid Lagoon. I'm going to add a little shading to get some darker blue hues in here, just using my blending brush. I'm going to add shading to the left and right around all the edges. And then after I have this done, I'm going to bring in my black soot Distress Oxide ink. This way we can create a nice starry night background. This is my favorite way to do this. An alternate way to do this, and without getting inky fingers, would be to take a panel and do this before you do your die cutting. But I found this is easier. This way I can really highlight some of the edges. I suggest edging on the rectangles, 2 of the left sides, 2 of the right sides, and then the archway of the top window pieces. Now once they're all done, I want to add some more sparkle. So I'm using my Sparkle Shimmer Spritz over the top of each one of these. And this saturated my, my panels pretty well. So I'm going to dab off the excess here, and then I'm going to set these aside to dry. I didn't want to use my heat gun because we have that white liner sheet behind there, so letting them air dry is probably the best thing to do. Now we're going to do a little bit more die cutting, but this time I have some dark gray cardstock. This is actually Riverstone. It's a cardstock color from Fun Stepper's Journey. I'm going to die cut out my window with both pieces 3 times. I'm doing it 3 times because we're going to layer them all together to create like a little bit of a chipboard effect. I wanted some dimension. I'm also going to take the piece for our sentiment, and then I'm also going to take my sentiment, put it inside my rectangle here, and we're going to die cut out all of these at once. Once they're die cut out, we're going to do a little bit more die cutting using some white cardstock. I'm going to take that same sentiment piece, die cut it out with white cardstock, and then inside the die set there are 2 clouds, a small and a large one. I'll die cut out 2 large clouds and then 3 small ones, and also I'm going to die cut out the moon that's in our die set this month. Okay, now we have everything we need to build our little scene. I was checking to see if my my night sky was dry that we had created earlier, but I think we have a little bit more time before it dries fully. I'm bringing back my craft mat, and we're going to do some gluing. So we have our 3 window panes here. I'm going to flip them over and just add a thin bead of glue around the edges, and we're going to layer all 3 together. This is going to give my window pane dimension. If you guys don't like doing this, you could just do one and then back it with maybe some fun foam and then die cut it out at once for a little bit of added dimension. And you could probably fit some foam adhesive behind here, but I think you would probably need some really skinny strips for that. So I found this was just easier. We're going to layer our 3rd window together, and we'll do the exact same with our archway, just layering all 3 of these together. We're going to have a gray window frame. Okay, once that's done, we're going to adhere our sentiment to our white background. You can see our sentiment says, "Wish upon a star." I think it's going to go great with our Starry Night background. Okay, now remember we cut these out with our white liner sheet behind it. I did that because I have some silver glitter cardstock. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the release paper off of the blue window panes, and we're going to adhere this to the glitter cardstock. I have found when I usually try to glue on top of glitter cardstock, it takes a long time for the glue to dry. So I thought the white liner sheets would just speed up time, and it would really adhere my background pieces to my window. So we'll add these. Once our panes are added, you can see how the shape of our window. I'm going to use my scissors and cut the excess silver glitter cardstock. I'm just going to cut it away. The silver glitter cardstock that I'm using is actually a holiday pack from Simon Says Stamp. And if I can remember to list it below, I'll list it down below for you. But it's a no shed glitter. So if you don't have glitter cardstock, you could even use washi tape if you wanted to behind those star panels. I'm going to die cut out a silver glittery moon. So we have a white moon and a silver glittery moon. I'm going to add glue behind my glitter moon, and I'm going to offset it on the white one. Since my window pane is dark and then my Starry Night background is dark, I wanted to really highlight my moon, so adding some white cardstock behind there is going to make it pop a little bit, I think. Okay, now what we're going to do is add our little window panes here. I'm just going to inlay them in between the window panes, removing the release paper and then adding each one. I'm trying to remember to get the darkest shading on the edge of my window, so it just continues kind of with a dome look. One of them I had about that black soot on the left and right, but for the most part I think it turned out really neat. Kind of looks like a very starry night sky. I'm going to remove the release paper off of this and add our last piece here. And the stars are really super shiny. It's kind of hard to tell in the video, but they're super duper shiny and sparkly. Okay, clean up our little stars that are sticking to my craft mat. Now I have our little clouds. Before we add our gray window panes on top, I'm going to add my clouds first. So again, we have 2 large clouds and then 3 small ones. I'm going to use glue. We're going to use glue. If you want to use your tape runner, you could do that. I think paper on paper is adheres really well. But the paper on glitter cardstock for some reason just takes a little while. We're going to layer a small one and a large one here in this window pane. And then the window pane above this is where we're going to put our moon. So I'm going to leave that blank. This little cloud's going to go in this window. I think will look good. And I'm overhanging over the edge, just to kind of give it a little bit of extra something, like you're really looking through a window. This little piece will go on the bottom left here. And I think that looks great. And I forgot to remove a star here, so I'm using my craft pick. Now I'm going to use my scissors and trim off the excess clouds. And then once we have all the excess trimmed off, I'm going to add a thin bead of glue behind my gray window frames. And then we can add those on top of the blue ones. We'll just press it down. So now they're 4 layers high and we have quite a bit of dimension, and I was really going for that effect. Since we have so many layers, you guys could even go the extra step and add maybe a piece of acetate to create a really nice window effect. But I kind of like the starry night here, and this little cloud was bothering me. It wasn't flowing right, so I'm gonna try and scoot it up. And you know what, the glue is still a little bit wet, so I'm gonna go ahead and scoot that up above that window pane line, and I was happier with the way this looked. Okay, I went ahead and added foam adhesive behind my moon, and I added that to my window. Now for my sentiment, I'm gonna double up on foam adhesive and add a strip behind it. I doubled it up because I have a lot of dimension with all the layers on my window, and then when I add foam adhesive behind this window, I'm just going to add 1 layer. This way it kind of balances everything. So 1 layer behind our window frame and then 2 behind our sentiment piece. Okay, I wanted to bring a little extra something behind my background. It's going to be white, so I'm going to bring in a embossing folder from Fun Stamper's Journey. This is called Bright Days. I'm going to add a piece of cardstock. This is a panel I trimmed down to measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. We'll run that through and emboss it. Kind of hard to tell in the light. My lighting's not the greatest today, guys. We've been having some rainy weather. But our panel's embossed. I'm going to flip it over and we're going to add this to a standard A2 size card front. And it's going to leave me a little bit of a white border, so we have a little extra framing going on. I wasn't sure if I should flip it upside down, since it is a like a radiant embossing folder. I thought maybe we could flip it around and have that dome shape on top, but I think it's better if we just add it right side up. I'm going to remove the release paper off of my window and add that to my card front here. Once I'm happy, I'll add my sentiment right below it. I think that's going to look great. Before we remove the release paper off of my sentiment, I wanted to bring in some stars. So I have this little pack of, they're called Fun Day Elements, and what they are paper clips in the shapes of bunnies and hearts and stars and flowers. I grabbed the one that's a star, and I'm going to add that to my sentiment. I have to actually separate my foam adhesive because it was so thick with 2 layers. I'm going to create a little bit of a gap about the width of my paper clip. This way I can just secure my star kind of a little bit at an angle, and then I can still pop it up. We'll just remove the release paper here, and then we'll add our sentiment with our star. Lovely. Okay, now I want to bring in a little more stars. There's lots of stars, little ones, but I thought we'd bring in some big ones. So I had some clear backed stars. These are actually called mirrored stars from Tim Holtz, and they're in a bunch of different sizes. I'm gonna go ahead and I wanted to add a shiny star to my paperclip center, so I thought about a smaller one, and I found one that actually fits my paperclip star, so you could see the metal of the paperclip behind it, but you have that star in the center, and I thought that would be a perfect size. I also added a few inside my window here, but the biggest one being here on my paperclip. I'm using my Journey glue because it's a real thick glue, and I know they're going to be adhered down to my card really well. Now after our stars are adhered, I'm going to go ahead and bring in some whipped cream twine. I'm going to loop it through my paper clip, and then we're going to tie a bow just underneath our star. The star's still drying, so I kind of have to adjust it a little bit to keep it centered. There we go. But I'll just trim the tails of my twine here, And I just think that looks so fun. That is my card today, guys, using the Spellbinders Small Die of the Month Club Kit. I think this would be great for anybody. But if you're interested in the club kit, the links are always down below. And if you want to see still shots, I left the coordinated blog post down below too. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a lovely day, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.